Hey y'all, welcome back to ConfederateShop.com. So today, let's talk about Confederate monuments. I've got some great news on this front, and it actually has to do with our Confederate monuments. As you know, the woke mob, just within the past couple years, attacked our Arlington Reconciliation Monument, which was a beautiful piece of art that honored the Confederates and really brought the country back together. That was the point of the monument, especially when you read the dedication speeches, when the monument was unveiled, when it was dedicated. Even the president at the time overwhelmingly supported it and spoke at the dedication speech. So to bring this monument back is the right thing to do. Now, of all the monuments for the woke mob to go after, this was probably should have been the least one on their list because of the implications of what it meant. But it further shows the ignorance of our enemies. They have no clue about these monuments. They're not the ones reading these dedication speeches. They're not the ones studying history. They're not the ones honoring the heritage of the South. Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, said this on his X account just this week. I quote, "I'm proud to announce that Moses Ezekiel's beautiful and historic sculpture, often referred to as the Reconciliation Monument, will rightfully be returned to Arlington National Cemetery near his burial site. It never should have been taken down by woke lemmings. Unlike the left, we don't believe in erasing American history. We honor it." So good on this administration for doing the right thing. And I'm honestly considering creating another Arlington coin. If you follow my work here, I don't know, it was probably over a year ago, I created an Arlington Reconciliation Remembrance coin, and it was a limited edition thing. So if you didn't get one, I'm sorry. I'm not going to be making any more, but I am considering making a second coin, and this is going to be more of a coin to honor the return or the resurrection of this monument, which is something to be celebrated. And I would be interested for your input if this is something that you would like to see us create. Just put a comment below on this video or send me an email at matt@confederateshop.com and give me your thoughts. I'd love to hear it. Now on to other things. As you know, ever since the woke mob has been destroying, changing, rewriting our history, we've been creating these items. And I mentioned them here just a second ago. I've got a beautiful Judy Smith Monument remembrance mug that features all the monuments from Monument Avenue. I've got our collector's coins, and I've also got our beautiful Christmas ornaments, which really are going to focus on the Richmond monuments that have been taken down. But I've actually got a problem that I'd like your help with. Now, my initial plan was to create a new ornament each year commemorating one of the fallen monuments from Richmond. But I will say they are super expensive to have made, and I've already got a huge stockpile of Davis from last year, and that's kind of my fault. I was really late in getting them made. So there wasn't a whole lot of time before Christmas to get the ornament. There was less than a month, so my apologies for that. What I'm asking of you is if you could help me move these ornaments. I'm going to be putting them on sale this week, and these make for great gifts. I'm going to also put the Lee, Jackson, and Stuart ornaments on sale, as well as the Jefferson Davis. And what I'm trying to do is sell as many as possible to fund the actual next creation of the ornament that's coming next. And like I said, it takes a lot of money to do this. I buy hundreds at a time, so I definitely need the capital to do this project. Moving on, I have a book I wanted to highlight this week. Since we're talking about Confederate monuments, I do have a wonderful book called An Illustrated Guide to Virginia's Confederate Monuments. Now, one thing many people don't know, especially our adversaries, which is kind of a good thing, there are literally hundreds of monuments throughout the South that people have no clue of, and they're located in towns that no one's ever heard of. For example, here very close to me, where I'm located, here by my warehouse, just right over the mountain, there's a little small town called Luray, Virginia. There are 2 Confederate monuments right on Main Street of Luray, and they've been protected and they've been supported throughout all this woke mess that has been going on. And this book is going to highlight all the monuments that are in Virginia. And the cool thing about this is it not just highlights it, but it gives you a brief history of the monuments, of the various landmarkers that are Confederate related. This is a really, really cool reference book. And there are, like I said, there are so many Confederate monuments within Virginia. And you can get this on sale this week. And if I could take a moment to address our critics who say that Confederate monuments were put up during the Jim Crow era, and they represent nothing more than white supremacy. This is, in my opinion, sheer hogwash. Now, let me explain. Around the turn of the century is when many of these monuments were erected. A decade before, a decade after, the year 1900 is when most of them were put up. And they were put up in this period not because of the Jim Crow era. They were put up because much of the South was financially recovering around this time. As you know, Reconstruction took a lot out of the people of the South. After the war, their land was devastated. Many people became homeless, including black and white. Race relations were horrible due to Reconstruction policies that fostered and incentivized some of this hatred between the races. That's a subject altogether in and of itself for some other time. But the South was financially recovering by the end of Reconstruction in 1877 up until the turn of the century. They were finally economically getting back on their feet. Now, another point is around this time, many of the former Confederate veterans themselves were dying en masse. I mean, they were passing away from old age, and so the South wanted to honor their service. You may disagree with me on this point, but I will say this. I have read myself many of the speeches from these monuments that are throughout the South, and I'm hard-pressed to find a single speech that mentions anything about race or mentions anything about white supremacy or how we are superior over some other group or class of people. Most of these speeches talk about honoring and remembering and commemorating their forebears. That's what these statues are all about. I even have historical accounts of many Union veteran organizations supporting these monuments. I even have a historical account from a former Union veteran who is a senator on the Senate floor calling for donations to the Robert E. Lee Monument in Richmond, Virginia. My point is there is so much ignorance surrounding our historical monuments, and there's good reason why we want them to go back up. I almost forgot to tell you about one of the products that I'm actually adorning right now. It is our mossy oak ANV Hunters Hat. It is getting a little bit chilly here in the mornings in Virginia, and hunting season is right around the corner for us here. And get yourself a nice hunter's hat. These are a premium item that we had made, and I definitely enjoy it. It fits well. It's kind of a trucker style hat. It's got the mesh in the back. And so we're going to have these on sale this weekend as well. And also I wanted to tell you about my most popular bookmark. And since we're talking about Confederate monuments, and Confederate monuments are remembering the fallen soldiers, I actually have my Confederate Soldier Prayer bookmark. It's a beautiful poem, and this poem was actually discovered on a scrap piece of paper from an actual old Confederate veteran. So it's got some cool history behind it, and it's going to be on sale too. So you can get this great book and the bookmark at a great price on sale, the hat. Also, like I said, give me your input on maybe creating a new Arlington Remembrance coin. And as always, thank you so much for supporting my work here on ConfederateShop.com.